welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ellie. So today's video, I've seen a lot of people doing this and I have been really struggling of getting through my TBR and deciding what I'm actually in the mood to read. So I thought that these trier chapters were actually a really good idea, so I'm going to give it a go today. I have a few different piles of genres here, so I'm going to try and do a couple of different videos. So this first one is going to be a try a chapter of cowboy romance. I have my Cowgirl Club sweatshirt on. So I was originally planning on doing this with books on my Kindle because I've said multiple times I have about 1,000 books on my Kindle, and I think this is a good way to just tick them off. Like if you read the first chapter and don't like it, just get rid of it off the TBR. But my Kindle doesn't have much battery and I've tried 3 chargers this morning and none of them are charging, so I'm really hoping that they are just old chargers and not the fact that my Kindle is broken. So we're gonna have to switch up and we're gonna do paperbacks. So I have 5 cowboy romances here. These are basically all ones that I have bought based off the cover and the fact that they are cowboy romances. I didn't really do any research into them, so we are going to give these a go. I know you sometimes can't really get much of it from the first chapter, but you can kind of get an idea of the writing style and what at least one of the main characters is going to be like. So yeah, I'm not going to read the blurbs of any of these. I'm literally just going to dive into the first chapter and see what I can get from that first chapter before I find out any more information on the book. So the first one on the pile here, we have Dust Storm by Maggie Gates. This is part of the Griffiths Brothers series. I always struggle with that surname. So yeah, I don't know how many books are in this series, but this is the first. So let's try this book. So the lighting's probably going to be really bad now because obviously the light is coming through behind me. But the first chapter of Dust Storm, so this book did actually have a prologue, but it was literally 2 pages, so I did read that as well. What I could gather from this, our female main character is a celebrity and our male main character is a single dad who is working the ranch. He has 2 young daughters and their mother had passed away. His daughters are 11 and 13 and he has taken over the family ranch so that his dad can retire and so that he can spend more time with his daughters. But he misses being out there in the fields and actually working the ranch. And at the end of the first chapter, a female shows up on the ranch who I'm assuming is the female main character. So I'm assuming in the next chapter we'll kind of find out why she is there. In the prologue, she was running from the paparazzi. So I'm intrigued by this one. I will definitely read this at some point. It's not going to be knocked off the TBR by that first chapter. And I'm not sure if this is the first book in the series because it has mentioned another couple a few times about how they met and what their story was. So whether it's a spin-off series from another series by this author or whether that was the first couple and this is the second couple in the series, I'm not too sure. I will look into that, but this has been a good start. So now on to the next cowboy romance. We have Back in the Saddle, and this is by Maggie Eckersley. Again, I just bought this based off the cover. So let's see if this one has a prologue. No, this one goes straight into chapter 1. So let's try this one. Okay, Back in the Saddle. This is in 3rd person and I don't really like books that are in 3rd person. I like to read them in first because I feel you get more of like the character's emotions. So I was a bit like, oh, when I first started it. But in the first chapter we have Caroline. So she is from Scotland and she has just divorced her husband of 4 years, which she was not expecting. She is obviously not doing great because of it. So she decides to go to Oklahoma. And yeah, in this first chapter she is in a bar in Oklahoma. She has a whiskey and a book. She's just enjoying herself alone. And then a man comes up to the bar, sits next to her and starts talking to her. and I'm assuming that he is going to be our male main character. They're having a bit of a joke with each other about the type of whiskey that they're drinking, and she told him a little bit about herself and her family. So I don't know, I have mixed feelings about this one. I didn't hate it, but I wasn't reading it like, oh my gosh, I have to finish this right now. So I don't know, I'm not going to knock it off the TBR, but I think I'm going to try and get to it quite soon so that I can give it a little bit more of a chance. I'm hoping that I'm not going to be put off purely because of the fact it's third person. But yeah, I am interested to read a little more from this, but I'm not sure if I'm going to end up reading the entire thing. Book number 3, we have Untamed Heart by Gemma Moore. It has a sprayed edge, and this is quite a short book, so I'm hoping I'm going to like this because it shouldn't take me too long to get through. And does this one have a prologue? Or does this go straight into chapter 1? This one is straight into chapter 1. And how many pages do we have? 10 pages. So let's see, I'm excited to try this one. Okay, Untamed Hearts. So this, at least the first chapter, is in the UK, which I wasn't expecting, and it mentions an old kind of ranch that our female main character had worked on. So I'm wondering if this whole book is going to be set in the UK. I don't know why I didn't expect that. I guess most cowboy romances that I read are based in the US, and also this cover does not look like anywhere that could be in the UK. So maybe she does venture abroad, or maybe it is set in the UK. I don't know, but our female main character at the start of this book, she has a boyfriend. He is very rich, he buys her lots of nice things, and she is on her way to work. She has to collect coffee for the entire team, but then when she gets to work, she's called into the office by HR, and they tell her that she is being made redundant. And the chapter ends with her walking out, and her boss is like, can you do a handover for the team? And she's like, no, and just leaves. So I'm assuming that she's going to have a fresh start. Maybe she's going to go back to this ranch that she was thinking about at the start of the chapter. So I am intrigued by this one, and I will definitely be reading it. I'm so sorry for this lighting, it is awful. But we have 2 books left. Number 4 is Live Ranch Love by Emma Lucy. This is probably one of the most anticipated cowboy romance on my entire TBR. I had always been wanting to read this one. The cover is just absolutely gorgeous, and my friend and I went to a talk with Emma Lucy, and we met her last year, and it's been signed, and I was planning on reading it as soon as I got this copy, and then it just ended up on the shelf. So I am really looking forward to this one. I know a little bit about what the story is about based off the author talk that we went to, and there are 11 pages in the first chapter, so let's get started. Okay, Live Ranch Love. In this we have Aurora, who goes by Rory, our female main character, and her aunt has had a ranch in the US. She used to go there every summer, but her aunt has now passed away and has left the ranch to Rory. So she has headed to this ranch so that she can kind of tie up all the loose ends and get it sold, as she is a wellness and positivity influencer, and she can't really do that job from a ranch, so she's just planning on selling the place so she can go back to her life. But when she gets there, she meets Mr. Hensley, who, when she was a child going there was a Mr. Hensley, so she assumes it's him, but it turns out he has left, and it's one of his younger family members who is now looking over the ranch, who I'm guessing is going to be our male main character, and he is kind of judging her for the way she looks and the job that she does. And yeah, I think I'm going to like it. Like I said, when I met the author, she was lovely and she was talking about it, and I just think it's going to be one that I am really going to like. So this has been like a very successful trial chapter so far. So we are going to move on to the final book, and that is Homebound by Meredith Trapp. This is another cover buy, and yeah, whenever I see a cowboy romance, I just buy it because it's like my favourite genre of romance. So I don't know, it's been pretty good so far. So I think there's only one that I may potentially not read, but there are only 8 pages in the first chapter. So let's start the final book. So this one is feeling like it's going to be a little bit different to the other cowboy romances. So the first chapter is Wyatt, who is our mermaid character, and Wyatt was the name, I think, of the guy in this book. So I feel like that's a popular cowboy romance mermaid character name. But anyway, we have Wyatt, and he is at a, I don't know what you call it, watching cowboys. It's not bullfighting, is it? Because that's when they fight, but it's like, you know, we've got a female character and she like rides bulls. Bull rider. And oh gosh. She is a bull rider and she is about to go into the arena, and our mermaid character has been in love with her forever, but nothing has really ever happened between them. He's kind of loved her from afar over the years as well. And he is now a single dad and plays in the NHL, which I think is really interesting, because does that mean like our female main character is going to be the cowgirl instead of it being like a cowboy romance? And yeah, he's in the NFL. He is a single dad and he has come back to the small town where she is. So I'm not too sure why he is back. I'm assuming that will be revealed later on, and at as the chapter ends, she is just coming out into the arena to ride the bull. And yeah, he seems head over heels in love with her already just in the first chapter. So I think this is going to be an interesting one, and will definitely be one that I'm going to read as well. So I think that was a very successful triad chapter for the first time ever doing that. I am going to keep to one side Back in the Saddle because that's the only one that I'm not 100% sure on. So I think I might read that a little bit more today just to see whether I am going to keep it on the TBR or not. But the other 4, they're not all going to be showing, are they? But these 4 will all be staying on the TBR for now because I did really like that first chapter. Yeah, I think this is like a really fun way to just test out some of the books that you have on your shelves, and I'm definitely going to try this with my Kindle if I can get it fixed, because I think this is going to be a really helpful way to knock books off my Kindle that I don't really think I'm going to love because that TBR is just too high. So yeah, this was interesting. I'm glad I did it, and I hope it was somewhat enjoyable. If you have read any of these, then let me know what you thought of them. Are they worth the read? But thank you for watching, and I will see you next week with a next video. Bye!